Have those conversations, bro. Don't just assume, man. Talk to him. Talk to him. What do you want? Sex? Alright, let's do it. What do you want? More than sex. Alright, baby. You know what I'm saying? This episode is sponsored by b.millionz Lemonade. Good taste, good time. Hit Big Mon up for the best tasting drinks on campus. At Mon's Big on Instagram. This side. Y'all feeling good?
Yes.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Sage Way. Welcome to the very first live Lemon Squeeze. Today we will be talking about relationships. It's cuffing season, y'all. Let's talk about it, right? But first, I want to introduce my beautiful friends right here. So starting down there with Amari, just go this way and state your name and state your age.
Hey y'all, it's Amari Samaya, and I am 20.
I'm Mike and I'm 20.
I'm Aaliyah, I'm 21.
I'm Joy and I'm 21.
Can you hear me? Okay. I'm Paige and I'm 22.
Hey y'all, I'm Maya, I'm 21.
What's up, y'all? I'm Ray and I'm 21.
Alright, so as y'all can kind of see, the ratio is a little messed up. I want to be equal as possible, but some of my fellas was a little busy today, so I couldn't get all of them. But it's cool though. It's cool. So I got y'all. I see y'all in the room, right? I see my fellas in the room. I see them in the room. So during the squeeze, you know, don't be afraid to let your presence be known. You hear me? Because I'm gonna need your help. I need your help. Yeah. But
Yes, sir.
Right. All right. So the first question. For my fellas, I'm gonna start on the right foot. So I'm gonna start with Mike. What makes a man want to commit to a woman long term?
Tell him, Mike. Yeah. Tell him, Mike. Tell him, Mike. I bet. So, just so y'all know my credibility there. My girlfriend right there. Been together. We've been together 6 years. Woo! So yeah, so since like 8th grade. So I don't know. So to answer your question, one thing that really makes, well, me personally want to really commit is, I don't know, just showing dedication. Like, you know, she's really, like, really into me. Like, she believes my goals, my dreams, and, you know, she gives back everything that I bring forth. So that's all you really need. If you ain't getting out what you putting in, then what's the point of it?
My boy. Yeah, my boy.
Alright, so a little backstory for me. My girl is actually right there. This is tomorrow, 10 months. So, yeah. I'm trying to think. As far as commitment, though, really, I just gotta. It's really just finding a woman that kind of wants to be your catalyst. Like, she has to see you for you and want to make you be the best that you can be. And once you find a woman that can do that, like, that's kind of like how you know she's meant for you.
I feel that. So, Barrett Miller is single as a Pringle. Right, but besides the point, I think what makes a man, oh yeah, I take it. So in my opinion, what makes a man want to commit to a woman long term is I believe in singleness. I believe that's your time as a single man or woman is your time to really find yourself. But there are some things that kind of just make you complete. You know what I'm saying? Like after you're living in your purpose or whatever, and after you're really on your stuff, this is like that feeling that you get from a woman, whether that's the conversation, whether that's the way she does things for you, she cares about you, she helps you out with certain things, but she don't have to. So there's a lot that goes into it, but I think men just know. They just know, like, yeah, that's the one. You know what I'm saying? That's the one. And they'll let y'all know, like, ladies, they'll let y'all know. They will, no, I'm telling you, if a man really is down for you, man, they'll let you know. So, yeah. All right, so next question. This one's for my ladies. We'll start with Amari. So, what makes a woman want to commit to a man long term?
Yeah, no, it's hard. I'm actually in a committed long distance relationship, and I've been there for like 3 years. So, like you said, like someone that is very. What I look for in a man and when I want to commit is I look at their potential now and how I want them to see that they're bettering themselves and like towards their growth. So I look at how you treat your mom, how you treat your siblings. Are you timely? Like things that, I would want him to look at me and be like, is this someone that would be a good mother? Take care of my kids, knows how to cook, clean, stuff like, like personal things. And it might seem very little, minuscule, but like they'll go a long way because this is the person that you potentially want to spend the rest of your life with.
I feel that.
To piggyback off of what Amari said, I definitely feel like long term is something that determines whether you want to commit or not. So like Amari was saying, like not just now, but like what are they going to bring to you in the future? Do they have ambitions? Do they have things that they actually want to do, things that they're trying to do, actively working on? Is really big to me. Faith and being grounded in that faith, because to me, I feel like if you're not grounded in that, like you're not going to be able to commit to me as a person. So I feel like that's really important. And then like Mike was saying, like dedication, so their willingness to want to commit to you and what their dedication looks like in other things. So if they're failing all their classes, they're not dedicated to their schoolwork, then I'm like, what makes me think that they're going to be dedicated to me? So what they're doing in other aspects of their life, how does that compare to our relationship?
Yes, I agree with all my sisters that have spoken. We are definitely long-term thinkers. Women don't just see what you have now, they see not what you have, but how you can be. And for me, really, it's like, as an independent woman, I look for a man that can help me grow in ways that I didn't even know I needed to grow. You know what I mean? Like, a man that can tell me the things that a lot of people aren't going to want to tell me. A man that can help me, not just tell me those things, but ways that I can improve on those things, and long-term about how we can grow together and as individuals as well.
For me personally, I would say consistency. A lot of guys will chase you and chase you and chase you, and when they get you, they're not chasing. Say it. And so, basically, like keeping up with that energy all the way through everything. Like so, the talking stage when we start dating, if we're thinking long term, keeping up with being exciting, being spontaneous, still having that spark. I'm not saying you got to give me stuff every day. We got to do stuff every day, but still just keeping that energy is something that I look for, because I know I personally get bored fast. Yeah.
Same. I'm not gonna lie. I personally am also committed to singleness to the extent that I am constantly working on myself, and I feel like if I'm constantly in myself and I'm focusing on myself, then I can't bring nobody else into that business. But what makes me consider, and for the potential long term and stuff like that, is really you catching my attention and just being yourself. Like, that's it. Honestly, I really can't ask for more than that, because I have an understanding that my happiness is not going to be dependent on what you do for me. And it's whatever, if you make me happy, yeah, cool. That's what the relationship is about. It's supposed to be beneficial, and I'm supposed to do things that make you happy, but not intentionally. And that's what I believe, at least. So to continue on with that, basically, I just need you, like Aaliyah was saying, I need you to be invested in yourself, and I need you to have those ambitions for yourself. And if we so happen to align in those areas in the time and the moment, then cool, we can get it. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, great answers, everybody. Great answers. As y'all all know, we are all college students. And relationships in college can either be really great or be really bad. Like, bad. And coming, like, I've never been, it's like the one thing that I was really involved in last year in college was very toxic for me personally. But I just wanted to go around the panel and ask each and every one of you, like, what do y'all think about being in a committed relationship in college? And we'll start with Ray. Answer honestly, yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, it's dope. I love being in my relationship. Like, and I mean, this it's for real, yeah, no, I mean, I feel like I'm like having the time of my life right now, especially where I'm at. You know, I'm kind of going through, I'm growing, I'm learning, and it's dope to do that with somebody like next to me, also growing and learning and just learning more about each other. So.
Good answer.
As I said, like based off of my answer before, like I said, I am committed to my singleness in the sense that, like, I'm not searching, but if you come up, we're meant to have fun, and that's what we're meant to do. So if I can have the best time of my life like Ray, hey, I'd like to. So I feel like that's like the best way to explain it, because I feel like my other answer covered a lot of that too.
I would say it depends on the person. I'm being honest. I came into college in a relationship, and it was long distance. He was in Maryland, I was here, and it was just toxic because of one, distance, and then you not being, not having that growth that you need to be able to trust your partner from being so far away. Also, I feel like knowing yourself, you would know, like, a lot of people nowadays, not saying anything's wrong with it, they like to go out and party. Me personally, I don't, but I feel like if you are a type of person who likes to go out and party all the time, maybe a relationship is not the best for you, because you want to go out and you want to do these things, and majority of the time nowadays, like, your partner doesn't want to see his girl, or if you're a girl, you don't want to see your guy out every weekend partying, like. So I think it just depends on your preference and you as a person.
I will even go on record to say that I think majority of college relationships do not end well. I think majority of them, of people not put themselves, but they do end in toxic ways, and it's because a lot of the times the maturity level are different, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to not be. And I'm not specifically saying that boys are always behind or anything, but I am saying that a lot of the times, a lot of boys aren't honest with themselves about if they should be in a relationship. You know what I mean? It's like they do chase, and men are very good at that. And well, in both ways. I'm not gonna put genders on this, but you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people aren't honest with themselves, and they really like a person, and they really want to hang out with that person. They really want to be with that person. But are you really ready to commit to that person? You know what I mean? Are you really ready to put in the work that's necessary for a long-term relationship? And let's be honest, a lot of us aren't. Even women, a lot of us aren't. We really like a guy. We're really invested in a guy. We really don't want to see that guy out with a lot of other women. So we, try to tie them down, but we get in a committed relationship, and all in all, like, we aren't secure with ourselves. There are a lot of things that we need to focus on personally. And so, in that sense, I do think there are cases you know, where a college relationship can be a very healthy thing, and that's when two people understand that they are growing as individuals and mistakes will happen, you know, and they're also growing as a couple. But a lot of the times we aren't real with ourselves, we aren't real with the person that we're with, and so it ends in a very toxic way.
I think being in a relationship in college is hard. It's so hard. Just because, like in college, you come into contact with a lot of different people. And a lot of those, you have people who like are like your backbones and like those people who really support you. And then you have the other people who are like also trying to influence you, and there's a lot of peer pressure that goes into that. So I feel like it's so essential to know yourself, because you can be in a relationship and they can tell you all the time, like, I want to be with you, I want to be with you, and then something comes up and then that's not the case anymore. So I think it's just really hard in college, because it's like so many other things going on and so many things you want to do and see. So making the decision to really commit to someone is like, that's really personal and that's really hard. So I think just overall, just going through all of that, like all the things of college and studying and like wanting to party but not wanting to like compromise your relationship, like that's just hard, and it takes a lot of growth. Like Joy said, a lot of maturity to do that, and I think that's not something that should be rushed. So even if you see like couples who are like in college and they look like they're thriving, if that's not you, that's just not you. Like you'll find your person when it's time, and maybe that'll be in college, or maybe that was in 8th grade and you found the love of your life, or maybe that's 30 years from now. But like, I think it's not something that should be like idolized or anything, because it is hard. So
For me, I mean, it's been pretty easy for the most part. Like, I feel like once we got here, we had that conversation about, you know, we gonna run into different people. It's gonna be different types of personalities. It's gonna be beautiful people here, there, you know. But just having that open dialogue before we really came here is what really helped us thrive. I say, if you want to last in a relationship in college, I say you got to be all in on it. Like, you can't be indecisive about anything that you got going on, because one mess up and you kind of lose everything. So just like you be all in on those tests, you stay up 3 in the morning studying. Why don't you get that same
Talk about it.
in your partner? Yeah, so that's my little take.
I would say it still ties back into commitment. Like, before you even approach a female or the guy, like, come in honest with yourself. What do you want out of this relationship? Because if it's something temporary for you and something for you to have fun with, then maybe you shouldn't be wasting this other person's time. I know in my case, the end goal is marriage and kids. So it's like we have a different energy with the relationship, and it's handled differently than it would be if I'm like, oh, we just kicking it right now. Like, we're unsure what the 2-year goal is, or 3-year goal, or the 5-year goal. So it honestly depends on the relationship. The only thing for me is the distance. I mean, my boyfriend is a college athlete, so it's like he's busy. I'm very active in VCU, and I'm 8 hours away from home. So it's like, it's challenges with that. But to be honest, God works everything out. Whatever's meant to be will be. And He is the light of my life. And I know He always looking out. So everything is in His hands at this point.
Hey, look, raise your hand if y'all have ever been in like a long distance relationship before. God damn. Okay. I want to ask a question to Amari again, real quick. What's like the biggest? What do you think like the biggest challenge is being in a long distance relationship?
That's a great question.
I know.
Well, there are many challenges. Majority of the relationships that you have are based on like physical presence, and we put so much into like seeing this person every day, being able to hug them, being able to kiss them, like stuff like that. But being separated from, you know, your significant other, like waiting long periods of time to see them, you value the time that y'all do, like talk on the phone, or like send each other gifts, or like write each other, you know, stuff they do in the olden days, I don't know. But like seriously though, like being in a long distance relationship, it is challenging because you don't see them every day. If I'm mad, I can't just pull up on you. Like, I can't cuss you out. Like, it's not like that. Like, you have to really, you have to really work through stuff and not like, you really have to work through things without being able to see that person. You know, over the phone, things can be skewed. Like your opinions or like the way you say things can be taken a different way than what you really mean. So sometimes you just gotta step away. Like, we're gonna agree to disagree now, revisit this.
I feel like a lot of us go into certain things or into relationships with no type of aim or no type of like goal, and I feel like we would alleviate a lot of hurt for ourselves if we start just knowing what we want out of certain people, knowing what we want out of certain relationships. I feel like we just, oh, he look good, she look good, oh, he took me out, oh, he made me feel bubbly inside. Girl, he might be the one. Like, I feel like you have to really have that real moment, because I know it's really hard, because like with all like the social media and everything like that, everyone around you seems to be booed up and happy, bro. Like everyone around you seems to be so happy with their little boo. You know what I'm saying? And that can be sometimes be like, wow, like I need me one. Why I don't got one? You know what I'm saying? But again, I think you shouldn't go into anything without having an aim or a purpose of like, what do I want out of this? How is it gonna make me a better person? Like how is being around him and his energy gonna make me a better person? And if you can't answer that question clearly, bro, leave him alone, man. Because long term, he ain't gonna do nothing for you. Yeah. What do y'all think about being friends before you go into things and just going into things? Like, do you think our friendship has to be established for it to work, or do you think, you know, if that spark's there, take it? Whoever wants to go.
I love the idea of like friendships going into relationships, because if you have a good friendship basis, then regardless if you attempt that relationship and that doesn't work out, you still have that friendship, you know? And like, ideally that's what is supposed to happen. And not only that, a person's gonna show you who they are immediately with the friendship. They're not going to try to change a little bit or dress up extra nice that day or do whatever. They're going to be themselves genuinely before you even think about wanting some type of romantic thing happening, which is nice, is genuine, and that's what a relationship is all about. Why am I waiting until I get into a relationship to have that connection with you? If I can get that connection with you first, and then like realize that connection is more. Because if I just have a regular connection with you and I thought you were attractive, suddenly that attractiveness is going down, now I'm beginning to resent you and all this other stuff because I thought you were something that you weren't. And so personally, that's why I enjoy the idea of friendships before relationships. But if you're feeling that spark, and it's just like, I don't know, like I really have to shoot my shot with this one, I don't see any other way, like any other potential, nothing else, then yeah, just go. I mean, regardless, either, if in that moment, if you're shooting your shot, either you are gonna miss, it's not gonna, nothing's gonna happen because you don't have a friendship with them anyways. But if you do, then you got something a little special. But like, even though that time, I feel like we do that anyways. Like the idea of chilling, oh, we just chilling right now, or we just hanging right now.
Y'all love it just chilling.
No, yeah, that's literally y'all trying to be friends with each other. That's you trying to be friends with each other. But in actuality, why are you getting the benefits of this relationship if we're just chilling and we're just friends? Like, if we're just gonna be just chilling and we're just gonna be friends, you're not gonna get those benefits. And now we're just gonna be friends before we're in a relationship anyway. So that's just me.
I always say to just kind of go with the flow. If the spark's there, then the spark's there. Because if you really think about it, say you met somebody on Instagram and you know you guys started hanging out and stuff and y'all started talking, like really, where was the friendship built? If you think about it, it really wasn't built. It kind of was, y'all went from not knowing each other to talking. So it's kind of like that's automatically happens anyways. And I feel like if you're already feeling the vibe, then just kind of just go with the flow.
Go with the flow. go with the flow how? Like, what is going with the flow? Just like, if I find him or her attractive, I'ma just see, I'ma just, like, what does that look like? I'm trying to figure out, like, what is going with the flow?
I feel like boundaries are very iffy then. You know what I mean? Like you can, it's cool if you establish like we're just chilling, but then it's like, well, we're just chilling, and then I saw you at the movies with such and such, and I saw you holding her hand and kissing her. You know what I mean? Like both parties a lot of times get in their feelings. So I don't know. What do you mean just chill? You know, go with the flow. I do understand, but I do understand Barrett's question.
So go with the flow with limits.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Everyone?
What are these limits? I mean, set boundaries.
Okay. Set boundaries.
Depends on you. What you want, what you don't want.
Like the whole friendship thing and then jumping into a relationship, I'm not necessarily against it, but I honestly don't think it works out in the end, because throughout the whole relationship, you're more worried about losing that friendship than you are that relationship. So it can get toxic after a while. And I say, you know, with somebody who is an associate or somebody you don't know as well, like, it's spontaneous. Like, everything exciting. Y'all can just build off of that rather than a friendship. You come in with expectations for this person, and you kind of want this person to change based on your standards. And then in the end, it ain't gonna really work out. I mean, from my experience, what I seen, I ain't gonna generalize nothing, but that's what I see.
Well, can we all agree that you should work on yourself before going into a relationship? Can we all agree? Okay. So I'm gonna ask my panel, because working on yourself is a very vague thing. When do you know, okay, I'm okay to go into a committed thing? Like, what does working on yourself mean? What does that look like for y'all individually? So when you say, yeah, I'm working on myself, I'm bettering myself, I'm living myself, what does all those things look like for you? Who says?
Aaliyah looked passionate, so I just said
I think working on yourself is something that's like constant. So you never get to the point where it's like, I have it exactly all together, I'm 100%, like I'm here. This is as good as Aaliyah's gonna get. So I feel like it's to the point where you feel stable enough within yourself to be able to pour something into someone else. So if you're still waiting for like that, whatever that thing may be for you, because I mean, you can be in a relationship and still have insecurities, and that doesn't mean you're not ready to be in a relationship. So I think to the point where you're like, I think I have developed in myself enough, or I have grown enough to the point where I feel like I can contribute to someone else's life, and I can pour into their life and allow them to be able to do the same thing. Like, I'm comfortable enough to let another person into my life and pour into me, then that's when you've reached the growth to be in a relationship. But that growth doesn't stop once you get inside of the relationship. So it's like a constant thing that's always happening.
Like, you have to be willing to take the chance to be vulnerable. So I think when you are willing to be vulnerable just freely, and when I say being vulnerable, I mean willing to show yourself and show up for yourself and show up as yourself, then I feel like you're good to be in a relationship. But then also, like, I feel like it definitely depends on the other person too, because it's like, are they worth me compromising whatever I got going on with myself to now pour into somebody else?
Alright, so I feel like there's like, this is kind of like off topic, I'm sorry, it's popping in my head. But I feel like this is kind of been like a thing for like the past, since we've been, growing or whatever. Like, there seems to be like a disconnect between men and women as far as, like you were kind of alluding to earlier, like, do men do they develop emotionally later than women? Is that why women are they're so ready?
Yeah, that's
and women and men are so, it seems like men are so not ready as far as our age range goes. A lot of men aren't ready. Me personally, I don't agree that men are emotionally as mature as women. I just feel like just how we are created. There. Hold on now. I need y'all. I just feel like it's not that we're emotionally like, one's in 5th grade, the other one's in 12th grade. I feel like we just look at things differently, right? Look at things differently. So I just want to get a gauge of the room and of the panel. Like, what do you think about that? Like, are men emotionally not as mature as far as our age range goes? And whoever wants to answer can jump in.
I think, in my views as well, I think as a young woman, like, my mom has always instilled in me morals, you know, like wifely morals, like things that you do when you know, get married and like have kids and like certain things that you do. And I feel like men are not always equipped with the common sense, okay, maybe common sense is not the correct term, but the tools. Let's say the tools. The men are not always equipped with the tools that, like being a provider, walking your girlfriend home, like stuff like little simple things, like making sure they got home after, you know, an event or like the club or like, you know, certain things y'all were not taught. Like, so I personally feel that as women we are molded and we are like told to do certain things and do this, don't do that. But guys, it's pretty much like, oh, there goes some condoms, don't have a baby. That's me personally how I feel.
He's like,
Come on, Mike. Yeah, Mike. Yeah.
Let's go.
So, I mean, if we're gonna talk about like, you know, the tools that were handed down to us and everything, you gotta really look at the way society treats black men though. Like growing up, like I'm gonna speak for myself. I don't know if a lot of y'all can relate, but we told basically like we're taught to not really feel too much. You know, you cry, you a punk. You know, you think about this somewhere you saw it, and you know, it's just years of being conditioned to really process and think of everything that way. Like the way I process things now, I had to learn on my own. Like my dad is still that type of dude who's more like, you know, don't be a punk, you know, you can't cry this, do that. Like the type to throw me some condoms and don't tell me what the hell to do with them. Like that's just how, that's just a generational curse. But you know, we grow out. I mean, I ain't gonna say we grew out of it, because you know, I knew a couple dudes. But you know what I'm saying? Just with a couple of us though, be patient. Like, you know, I'm not saying it's y'all job to help us build, but you know, give us a little bit of room to build. Like society did us dirty on that part. So that's all I know.
No, yeah, I just wanted to add on, like, I definitely do feel like society does y'all dirty because they don't, like, y'all, the standards that y'all are measured by as being mature versus the standards that a woman is measured by being mature. Like, just think about that for a second. When you think you become a woman, it's okay. Now I know how to run my household. Now I am starting to get my own education, which you've already been started doing at the same time that they started, right? Now I'm able to hold and stand within my empowerment, which is usually just showing up for myself and just being, or looking pretty on the outside. That's what a lot of people consider you being mature enough to get into that relationship, but in actuality, yes, you're not, because you have your own work that you're doing. But by the standards of a man has to show up for his family, so he's not going to be mature enough until he has that. So that's not going to be until he's like 30, late 20s maybe, something like that.
30s.
Like, I don't know, late 20s. Yeah, and it's like she said, it is statistically like proven, like mine is not like fully developed yet. That's what we're gonna go with. But at the same time, I do definitely feel like it's just the term that we're measuring those things by, like just you showing up and me showing up is completely different, and how we're seen as being mature enough is completely different too. So
I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit. I think that a lot of times us as women paint the picture that men are trash because sometimes men are too real with us in a way that like we feel a type of way. So I have two brothers. I have a brother that's getting married in January. So I know for a fact there are men who are mature, who are capable of loving women, who are capable of being in relationships. But that's not what men want all the time. And I feel like sometimes when they express that, then it's kind of like, well, that's why they trash and they don't care. They don't want to love nobody. They can't love nobody. But the reality is they just don't want to. Maybe they just don't like you. Maybe they don't love you. And that's not wrong of them to do. Like there are men who like are amazing men, and I feel like oftentimes they get overshadowed by some people who just like are just realistically being like, this is not what I want. I don't want a relationship. And when they're honest with you, then you're upset about it. So I feel like we have to, like, as women, distinguish like when a man is genuinely trash and then when a man is just like being like, this is really like how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's important to do.
And even when they are trash, it's because we let them do that, because they have shown us who they are the first time, and we allowed them to do that. And we're like, all right, like y'all, like I saw how you were doing. Okay, you don't want to text me. Okay, I'm gonna think like, you know, you were doing something else. You were busy. You're doing X, Y, and Z, whatever. And I'm gonna keep allowing that behavior to happen. And then at the end of the day, when I get screwed over, like, of course I'm gonna be like, yeah, y'all are trash, because y'all are supposed to be doing X, Y, and Z, but the whole time he never told you or showed you that that's what he was going to do for you. So why are you even there?
Alright, so that was deep. So I'm gonna try to like switch gears a little bit. We like kind of like wrap this joint up a little bit, but before we start wrapping it up, what do y'all feel? How do y'all feel about waiting to have sex? So, or I think I should rephrase it as how does my panel think about casual sex in college? Like, how do y'all feel about that?
Alright. So I mean, my whole take on it, you know, you could die tomorrow, so. It's not wrong if you out there having sex and you have multiple partners. As long as you protect yourself and you protect others, like, then you let them know. Like I said. Say what? But yeah, look. Just remember my words though. You could die tomorrow. Anything can happen. So don't hinder yourself.
Jesus would not approve. Alrighty, okay. I'm gonna give y'all the Bible version. I'm gonna give y'all my version. Jesus says, wait till marriage.
Talk about it.
Okay, that is what the Lord says.
Talk about it.
And I support people. Some of my brethren in here, some of my sisters in here. I know some people wait for marriage. That is completely up to y'all, and that's completely y'all choice. This your choice. For people that are in college wilding out, me personally, that is not something I would recommend, because there are a lot of people that look clean on the outside and are nasty on the inside. Okay, I'm talking clap. Okay, nasty, nasty. So you for real. Y'all, it is uncurable STDs out here, okay?
Oh, hold on. All right, now, let's be real with y'all. Casual sex is cool, but how many of y'all start to catch feelings after the casual sex continues? Like, I think that's an iffy line. When they start doing things you really like and you start to confuse that sexual attachment with that emotional attachment, that's where things get really, really iffy for us, especially women. I will go on record to say that most women have a lot harder time detaching emotion from sex than a lot of men. And like, I think that's where it becomes iffy when men can easily, you know, have sex with you. Not even men in general. Some women can do it, have sex with you and leave, and not feel like they have to text you or call you. And I think as women, we have to understand that. And boundaries, like she said, have to be set very clear and very early. Because once you start having casual sex with someone, you think like, well, then I can call them whenever I want, and you know, we can hang out, and they're supposed to be there for me when I need them, or they're supposed to be there when I need a phone call. But in all reality, if you haven't had that conversation, they could have no emotional attachment to you at all, even though you feel like it's everything. You know, in that moment, you were like, oh my gosh, this is my husband. But in all reality, he leaves, and he's like, yeah, that was cool. So I think you just have to have conversations very early and be very real with yourself about what it is you're doing when you're having casual sex.
Have those conversations, but don't just assume, man. Just talk to him. Talk to him. What do you want? Sex? All right, let's do it. What do you want? More than sex. All right, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Those are also conversations that should be had in person.
I love that. Alright, so we about to wrap it up real quick. So one last question for the beautiful panel. I'm gonna go through all y'all. What does a healthy relationship look like? Whether that be with yourself, with another person. What does that look like for y'all individually? We'll start over here right here.
I would say a healthy relationship really just looks like you knowing yourself and you also knowing your partner, knowing the goal that y'all both working towards, and knowing that y'all have communicated that with each other in person. Y'all know what y'all are working towards, and you both have like that same mindset. I feel like if y'all can do that and y'all can work on that, y'all know where like each other's at mentally, then you should be good.
You gotta be considerate of somebody else, you gotta be considerate of yourself, and you gotta be willing to be honest with yourself and honest with somebody else. You gotta just have that clear and open dialogue, period. If you're not having any type of conversation with yourself or with somebody else, then what are you doing? Honestly. We're all here to connect. That's what I think, at least.
I think a healthy relationship is basically when you can build with somebody, not only emotionally, but financially. You're trying to build a family with them. And so you're investing in not only children, you're investing in education, you're investing in property, assets.
Say it again. Say it again.
I mean, we each should walk our own path. Even when you get in a relationship, like, it's still your life. It's still a path that you have to walk sometimes individually, but as long as y'all can walk them side by side. And I think just finding a person that is willing to grow with you, a person that is willing to understand you and willing to grow with you as well, and understand you at your lowest, be there for you when you are not your best self, be there for you when you are your best self, and not be mad that you doing a damn thing. You know what I mean? Like somebody who's just willing to be there for you, not like your mama, but just as hard as your mama.
When I think of what a healthy relationship is, I always think of my parents, and like Paige, my parents have been together since they were 15 and they've been married for 27 years now. And when I think of like healthy, I think of vows, but specifically like the vows that are like the negative ones. So I think about tears, I think about pain, I think about thin, I think about sick, poor. Like someone, like when you're in a healthy relationship, you know that no matter what happens, you're going to be there for that person and that person's going to be there for you. If you can't appreciate the hard times and the times that are like tougher to talk about, which are going to come with a relationship. So if you're in a relationship and it's you still in the cupcake phase, just wait, because it's coming. So if you're not ready for that, like, or if you haven't talked to your partner and you guys don't feel secure and like what is going to come with that, then I feel like that's not a healthy relationship. Healthy relationships have arguments. You're going to cry, you're going to be hurt. They might say something that makes you feel some type of way, but when you love someone, when you truly love someone, that means nothing. Like, you're going to overcome that. So I feel like that's a healthy relationship.
And I agree fully with everything that's been said so far, but one thing I want to add is progression. Like, if I move, you move, just like that. If y'all not making boss moves together, if y'all the same people y'all were a year ago, what's the point of being together? That's how I kind of look at things. Y'all supposed to be together with each other. So that's my take on it.
So everybody had great comments. I'm gonna say what a healthy relationship is not. It is not jealousy. It is not spitefulness. It is not vindictiveness, any of that. I mean, cheating, lying, stealing, killing. The commandments. I mean, if we refer to Jesus, I mean, honestly, like, if you if you feel any of those things that I mentioned in a relationship, that's not a healthy relationship. Like, if you have to lie to your significant other, cheat on them, be jealous of them, or jealous they're around certain people or around too many guys, like, trust is honestly the biggest thing I can say that is important in a healthy relationship. If you don't trust your significant other around certain people or in certain situations, and loyalty is another one. Like, I feel like trust and loyalty go hand in hand. Because it's like, if you don't trust that they'll be loyal to you, then you should not be in a relationship with that person. Like, a lot of relationships are built on the outside physical appearance. Oh, we look good together. Oh, we take cute IG pics. Oh, we will make cute babies. Like, no. Like Aaliyah said, like, it's gonna be crying, arguments, disagreements, agree to disagree, all of that type of stuff. Like, you have to be in it for the thick and the thin. Like Aaliyah said, like, for poor, for richer, like the vows. And yeah.
Well, thank y'all. Wrapping it up, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe.
Smash
for more
that
Feminist
button.
Music. Smash that, Jake. And thank y'all again. If you have any suggestions on like the next lemon squeeze, drop it in the comments below. Other than that, y'all stay blessed, y'all stay up. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a blessed day.